Today I'm at Kelvin Grove neighborhood. This was the site of Kelvin Grove Plantation in the 1800s. Okay, today I'm actually standing at the Bloody Marsh site, which also was part of Kelvin Grove. Kelvin Grove was granted to William McIntosh by the King of England in colonial days. Kelvin Grove Plantation was the whole southeast side of St. Simon's Island. Kelvin Grove was named after a house in Scotland, which belonged to William McIntosh. Thomas Cater and his family, his wife Elizabeth Franklin, and his son Benjamin, settled Kelvin Grove in 1798. Historic military road goes right through Kelvin Grove. The Kelvin Grove house was a two-story pink tabby house, and it had a view of the ocean. It had balconies. It had 3 piazzas. This house had 12 rooms and had a basement. It had a piazza 12 feet wide and 15 feet long on 3 sides of the house. This house had 12 bedrooms, the only plantation home that had a view of the ocean. This is another drawing of the house at Kelvin Grove Plantation, also known as the Postel Plantation House on St. Simon's Island, Kelvin Grove. Another drawing of their pre-Civil War home at Kelvin Grove, the Postel home, which is made of wood and had the pink tabby, and also had the piazzas around it and the big porches and all that great stuff, and had an ocean view as well. This is another picture of the pre-Civil War house. Okay, this is a picture of the second Kelvin Grove home, the home that belonged to the Postels after the Civil War. The first house for the pre-Civil War, made of pink tabby, was kind of destroyed during the Civil War. It was left abandoned and it was just dilapidated, so they had to tear it down and build this one. This was their second one the Postels built, and the one that survived almost to the 20th century. They had a tabby barn, was 40 feet square. It was 2 stories high. They had a servant house 35 feet by 18. St. Simon was called the Garden of Georgia. Thomas Cater's wife Elizabeth Franklin fell in love with the overseer, and they killed Thomas Cater. And Dembo, a forced laborer, his driver, was instructed to Cater's son, Benjamin Cater, to William Page at Retreat Plantation. So Dembo had to take Benjamin Cater all the way through the woods, all the way to where the Sea Island Golf Course is, that they Retreat Plantation is. Elizabeth Franklin Cater and the overseer left the island, never seen again. Elizabeth never married the overseer, but she did end up marrying somebody else. Benjamin Cater was raised by William Page, and he was sent to Yale College. And when Benjamin returned from Yale, he took over Kelvin Grove Plantation as its master. Thomas Cater is buried in Kelvin Grove, not standing up. And the story is, the reason he's buried standing up is to be ready for when his murderers return. Benjamin Cater married Annie Armstrong. Annie Armstrong was the niece of Alexander Wiley. Benjamin Carter died, and Annie Armstrong Cater married James Postel of Savannah. James Postel and Annie did the opposite of what the previous Caters did. They had 10 kids, a large family. When James Postel took over as master of Kelvin Grove Plantation, he planted Sea Island cotton, which is very soft compared to regular cotton. James Postel was known for having a huge seashell collection, and he sold it to the Roanoke College in 1876, which is still there today. He also was an avid book collector, butterfly collector. He collected a lot of stuff. So he had a huge collection. People used to come from all over Georgia and the country to come to his library to read his books because he had such a huge collection. During the Civil War, the Postel family evacuated Mount Pleasant in Wayne County, which is Mount Pleasant between Brunswick and Jessup. After the Civil War is over, the Postels returned back to Kelvin Grove Plantation and found their house in disrepair. So they tore down the house and built a brand new house on the same site the old house was. Kelvin Grove Plantation was one of the few plantations that thrived after the Civil War and made a profit. Present day Kelvin Grove Plantation is obviously Bloody Marsh, where I'm standing right now. I did this whole video of Bloody Marsh. The Kelvin Grove neighborhood, the East Beach neighborhood, King and Prince Hotel, the Meadows, Oglethorpe Park, Postel Street, Broadway Street, Peachtree Street, Wesley Oaks, Highland Acres, and McKenna Airport. Part of the Kelvin Grove Plantation was sold to Miss Maxwell Parish in the 1900s, and she stayed in a cottage near Bloody Marsh. So right in where that neighborhood is, where Kelvin Grove Plantation, she had a cottage. She stayed there until she passed away. Miss Parrish died, and they sold the land to the Kelvin Grove Plantation subdivision, which were the Kelvin Grove Plantation neighborhood is there today. Where I'm standing today is Bloody Marsh. It was just a small part of Kelvin Grove Plantation. Okay, today I'm standing at McKenna Airport on St. Simon's Island. 1935, Clifford Postell sold this tract of land to develop the McKenna Airport, which you see before me. They were developing the airport, they found some Indian artifacts. So they stopped progress of developing the airport and brought the Smithsonian in. 1936, the Smithsonian did a excavation and found an Indian village was here as well. They found a burial ground and they found a stone axe. This whole area out here was Kelvin Grove Plantation in the 1800s. And it actually prospered after the Civil War as well. Today I'm at the intersection of Cater Street and Armstrong Street, right here in Kelvin Grove Plantation neighborhood. This is just south of here is where the plantation house stood on St. Simon's Island. Turning down this way south to see if we see any kind of anything where the house would be. The house would have been down in this area where these houses are today. Probably on this side near the river. So there is also a slave cemetery about 100 yards away from the house too. All this was Kelvin Grove. Kelvin Grove is basically the southeast side of St. Simon's, all the way to McKenna Airport. All these neighborhoods, Oglethorpe Park, Broadway Street, Military Road, because Military Road's right here in front of me. Military Road went right through Kelvin Grove Plantation. So this whole area you see was the plantation back then. All the way to Oglethorpe Park, Wesley Oaks, that whole area over there, all the way to the airport. Now I'm turning back on Military Road. We went straight through Kelvin Grove Plantation. So this is the area, the Military Road that the Americans used, the British used during military conflicts on the island, and also for travel. This is a map of St. Simon's for the plantation days. Just a quick view of St. Simon's, the way it's broken up into the 14 different plantations. And I'm going to show you where Kelvin Grove was located right here. These beaches over here, and this is the whole area where the airport and almost all the way down to where the lighthouse is. They had that whole south side of St. Simon's. Pretty interesting. This is present day where the Coast Guard station is. Kelvin Grove neighborhood, Bloody Marsh, East Beach, King and Prince, and all that area down there.